first question is, this is probably the most important day of the election
Yes.
so far. So why are you in La Crosse, Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's appropriate. You know, my congressional district was right across the river. We came right through there. Look, Wisconsin is critically important. We know that the folks here care deeply about moving our country forward. They care about the economic issues we put out, whether it's about home ownership, keeping your health care, protecting women's reproductive rights, or dealing with more pressing issues, gun violence and things. So we're here to make sure we're going to win Wisconsin. It matters. For me, when I saw this was on the schedule, La Crosse is a place we spent a lot of time in going back across the river, so it feels like I'm with neighbors.
So you kind of delivered your final message on stage, but ultimately, what is your final message to those voters who are still undecided?
Yeah, this is an opportunity to turn the page. Look, Donald Trump will continue to give tax cuts to the wealthy and continue to try and paint a very divided picture. Kamala Harris stood on the National Mall and was a president for all. We're talking about lowering costs economically, making sure access to pharmaceuticals, making sure your health care and the ACA is protected, bringing back manufacturing jobs to America, and making sure that rural communities are heard, whether it's protecting rural hospitals or making sure ambulance services across here. All of those things matter. And then, as I said, tackling things like gun violence. We know that it's too high. We can do that. Folks in Wisconsin know we can do that. So I'm out here to make that case. We can either go forward or we can go back. And I said, as we're in our campaign, is we're not going back.
So we are in the final hours of the campaign. How are you guys feeling? What are you hearing from voters on the trail right now?
Yeah, we're feeling good. People are tired of this chaos. They want a president that brings us together. They don't expect us to agree on everything, but they do expect us to do this with dignity. They don't want to hear the nonsense. They don't want to hear large groups of people being disrespected. It doesn't have to be that way. So our campaign is, I saw that it said that one is unified and one is division. We're taking unity.
And I know we were talking earlier about final message to voters, but in Wisconsin, you can do same-day voter registration.
Yeah.
What do you say to those people who are unregistered, who think it's too much of a uphill climb to get registered? What do you say to them?
It's not. Your vote is your agency. Your vote is your power. Don't let them take that from you. This matters. Look, I said it. I'm a middle-class guy, a school teacher. I never thought I would be in politics. I was in my 40s. But it matters when we lift up our votes. It matters who we elect if they understand how we live. And Kamala Harris and I, both middle-class folks, one from Oakland, one from Middle America. I'd ask those folks, get out there and vote. Vote for a better future. Vote to protect women's reproductive rights. Vote to make sure that we understand that we keep our promises in this country and our politics can be joyful and hopeful.
An issue that is really big here in western Wisconsin, child care access.
Yes.
It's too expensive for a lot of families, and for providers, it's hard to find that staffing. So can you talk about what a Harris-Walz administration will do to make child care more accessible for people?
Yeah, first of all, focusing on children in this. A child tax credit of $6,000 in that first year of life. Universal pre-K, things that the Vice President has talked about. The model we did in Minnesota, making child care more accessible by helping find more providers, as well as providing assistance. Because we understand this. One, it's getting those children off to a good start, but we need workers in this part of the country. And if you can't have good, secure child care that you can afford, we're losing out on that workforce. One of the parents ends up having to stay when they have the opportunity to be able to work. So I would say these are things, both reducing the cost, increasing the number of folks who are doing it by making sure they're paid a fair wage, and putting money with tax cuts back into the middle class.
And another issue that's talked about a lot on this campaign, reproductive rights.
Yes.
I'm sure you saw the poll out of Iowa. People are thinking that might have to do with the Dobbs decision, that 6-week abortion ban that
Yes.
went into place there. Can you talk about what you're hearing from voters about reproductive rights and what the Harris-Walz administration will do?
Yeah, it's fundamental, and we've seen in the 20 states that have the Donald Trump abortion bans, we see women dying, a story every day. These are household names now across the country. Amber Thurman, who had to drive from Georgia to try and find one, and she died. Women are being forced to do that. Donald Trump is saying that he doesn't care. He will do it whether they like it or not. I think this is about bodily autonomy. This is about freedom. This is about understanding government shouldn't be in these decisions. Government shouldn't be making those decisions. Kamala Harris has made it clear. We will restore the protections of Roe versus Wade so you and your physician make those decisions. And I think that's exactly what's happening in Iowa, and it's what's happening across the country.
Able to get one more in? Okay.
Sure.
Agriculture, big industry here in Wisconsin. What is the Harris-Walz administration going to do to help farmers?
Yeah, first of all, we're going to take the House of Representatives back and pass a farm bill. This is unacceptable. The Republican Congress has not passed a farm bill. I worked on 3 of those. We're making sure, not only in addition to the farm bill, that we're protecting rural hospital access. We're protecting the infrastructure bills that are helping rural communities, making sure that folks have the infrastructure, have the water treatment plants, have the hospitals. And then the one thing we're going to do is make sure your local public schools are funded. Donald Trump talks about pulling that money back, getting rid of the Department of Education. We will make sure local communities have the resources necessary to run their local schools.